So in this video, I want to take a quick minute to talk about nature and its, I guess put simply, its healing properties, which is something I'm assuming you must know all about. It's kind of like that thing that's just way off in the back of our minds that when you want to calm down, when you want to center yourself, when you want to have a relaxing, present experience, we always have that kind of feeling to just go off into nature. Because what is it? What is nature? What's it like? The thing I've noticed with nature the past few years or so, I guess I could say, is that when you go out into nature, there's always something surprising. There's always something fascinating that will take place out in nature. Whether you come across this crazy science experiment of natural, energy stuff going on, or a plant or a flower, or you see wildlife, or the patterning of the leaves, or or insects, or a flock of birds. Something always happens that you weren't anticipating. Something always takes place that is like, wow, nature is cool, at least how it feels to me. And I went for a walk today, which those are easily one of those things that I could say, oh, I should do that more often, go for a walk. But not just any old walk, a walk out into what I'm so fortunate to have is like 30 or so acres of woods, just wooded area with no housing, no roads, none of that stuff. So every now and then I'll go out there, and I'd be lying if I said I didn't go out there because I was feeling slightly distressed. I was feeling slightly. It's like a nice even mixture of like sadness and passion and frustration and restlessness. And something that's really fascinating to me is sometimes I don't even know where it comes from. Sometimes I don't even know why I feel that. I'll just feel, it reminds me of the Buddha's statement, one of his noble truths. I don't remember which one, but that what he calls it is this suffering. But recently, within the last few months, I've actually heard that the translation of what he said into suffering isn't exactly the most accurate way to put it, at least to our Western cultured minds, because when we hear the word suffering, we think of like an injury or something very, very intense and dramatic. But what the Buddha was talking about was something more along the lines of what could be better translated as dissatisfaction, where you all probably know that feeling all too well, where no matter what it is, it's just you feel like it's missing something. You feel like you're not quite there yet. You feel like it's not really happening yet. You feel like there's something. But anyways, I went out into the woods because I had this feeling, and I was just sitting, and I was like, I'm gonna go for a walk in the woods. So I went out into the woods, and I was listening to music, and it's also hunting season, so I was wearing orange, and it's actually pretty cold out now. It's November, towards the end of November, so I'm all bundled up. And I went out into the woods, and I walked out to an area where I usually sit when I go on a walk out in the woods. I sat down, I'm listening to the music, and it was like, this is the thing with meditation, is I wasn't doing anything. I was just sitting, and there was this feeling of restlessness, this feeling of dis-ease or unease, I guess you could say. And I just sat there. I wasn't doing a mantra. I wasn't following my breath even. I just had my headphones in and I was listening to this music and I was just sitting there. And the mind is very, very interesting. If you ever really take a moment, you're probably very comfortable with and familiar with the patterns of the mind, but when you really take a moment to just sit and see what the mind is doing, it's very fascinating, and I guess you could even say equally maddening. Just there's no point of focus. The mind is just running through memories and plans and mistakes and hopes and dreams and fantasies and desires and frustrations, and trying to learn, trying to make things clear, trying to better understand things, rethinking things, reanalyzing things. It's completely there's no focus. There's no focus, at least with my mind. You know what I'm talking about. It's just going. It's just thinking. It's doing what the mind does, thinking of stuff. And of course, because I was feeling, I guess, an elevated level of dis-ease than usual, my mind was trying to wrap itself around, why do I feel this? What is this feeling? How can I work with this? What should I do with this? Am I right? Am I wrong? Is this good? Is this bad? Am I doing something wrong? You know, trying to figure itself out, trying to figure out, what are these feelings? What is this feeling I have? What do I do with this? Should I let it be? Do I need to do something to make it become freer and less dense, you know? And that kind of is what drove me out into the woods. Is I'm trying to work with how I'm feeling. I'm trying to look deeper into why I'm feeling the way I do, and I guess in a way move myself from it, or remove myself from it, become lighter, become more accepting of what's going on, you know? So I'm sitting out in the woods and I'm just sitting. I'm listening to this music and I start to look at the trees around me and how they're just there, and their roots going into the soil, and their branches, and some of them still had leaves, and there was a bunch of pine trees all around me, their little pine boughs and their tiny little pine cones that they were making. And I was sitting on this big rock face, and there was moss all over it, and this tiny little mushroom. And, you know, slowly, my mind is busy trying to wrap itself around this unease, I guess is the best word I can use for it, this dissatisfaction, frustration. It's trying to wrap itself around that, but it's starting to see its surroundings, and it starts to kind of loosen. It starts to kind of, you know, to put it really simply, it's becoming not as much as the mind is making it out to be. It's becoming, it's resolving itself. It's resolving itself as I just sit there. And I feel this feeling of ease coming in. And I'm seeing all these surroundings and I'm thinking, this is what nature is doing, you know? And I am this nature, you know? And I'm over here being all dramatic, and nature is just doing its thing. It's just, the trees are there, The moss is there. The leaves are blowing. The wind is making the leaves move. Gusts moving through. And I'm over here trying to think, and there's this stewing motion of mind, ocean of mind. And I just feel myself starting to observe what's around me and recognizing this is what I am. And look how simple it is. Look how calm it is. Look how, perfect it is. How it's what Ram Dass talks about, why, sitting out there in the woods, why do I feel like I'm the only one there? It's because I'm not judging nature. You only feel like someone's there when you're in some weird social trip of you have nature and then you have humans, and it's complete tension all of a sudden where you're judging. And out in the woods, I feel peaceful and alone because I'm seeing everything around me as that's just nature doing its thing. That's just nature being nature, And that's something I think myself and many other people actually appreciate about nature, is that it's just nature. It's doing what it does. And it's literally what this house I'm in is built on. And it's just there. And I'm out there and I'm sitting with this nature. And it's moving me into peace. It's moving me into, you could argue on all these different levels, well, I'm moving myself out of it by resting and meditating or whatever, but it's like the nature is holding me, and it accepts me, and it is present, and it's so ancient, and it's just still out there doing what it does. It's just blowing and happening and growing and going dormant. It's just doing the nature thing. And I am it. It is me. I am life. This is the life that we are together. And just feeling myself move from this sort of constricted, state of dissatisfaction and frustration and like melancholy, where you can't really tell why you feel down, you just kind of do. I'm sure you know. And feeling myself just moving into ease and spaciousness and relaxation, and beginning to appreciate suddenly, this is the idea of the mind and its single dimensionness, where if you're looking at one thing, that's all you see, and you're kind of completely blocking out everything else. In this case, what I'm talking about is in that frustrated state. I'm frustrated, I'm upset, I don't feel good. And then suddenly it's like taking a breath of fresh air, which is a statement we have, which is kind of related to what I'm talking to. And recognizing, remembering where we are. And being out in nature without the sounds of cars and inside a house and people, we are able to remember, I'm alive, I'm here, I'm breathing, and the very construct of the negative frame of mind or uncomfortable state of mind just kind of, it becomes irrelevant to what's actually going on, to not what's actually going on, but to the vastness, to the magnitude of what's actually going on, which is I'm pretending to be little old me, trying to go beyond trying to get through my struggles. Meanwhile, there is all this life and all this beauty and all this serenity just enveloping everything, going through me. It is me, and I'm out there with it. And how old it is. I'm over here 21 years old, but these plants and trees, they carry a mystery inside of them. They carry, we carry it too. That's why we see it. Is because we are connected to nature. And for some reason, nature isn't as caught up with itself as humans are. And we see it. We gaze into the tree, its bark and its roots. We hear the wind, and we remember eternity. We remember how old we are, how magnificent and mysterious we are. And the questions of, what is this? And who am I? And why do I feel this way? Screw all that. Here it is. And something I've noticed is, as this state comes to be, as this state of relaxation, imagine exactly what I'm telling you, where you're feeling distressed and you go for a walk, or you go for a drive, or you sit and meditate or whatever, and you move through, and you can feel this tension just going, releasing, subsiding. And right when we're feeling good again, we return back to our humanness. Okay, there, as if to say, now that I feel good, I can stop doing this thing that got me into this incredibly beautiful state of mind. So I can go back to doing this and talking to them and thinking in this way. And then we find ourselves again later down the road. Oh, I'm feeling distressed. Here, I'm going to go do this method. I'm going to meditate, go for a walk, go for a drive, go sit out in nature. And then the beauty comes back, and then we go, okay, I'm good. I'm going to go back. And it's just this pattern. And the point of these methods, to say that meditating or going for a walk is a method, for what? It's not, the point of it is not to just get our selfish selves out of its feeling tense. That's not why it's here. It's not here just to make you feel good. And when we use the methods in this way, we lose our faith when they don't make us feel good. We don't do them often, because if we go a while feeling good, we don't see any need in doing these beautiful techniques of coming to the present moment. We don't see any need to do that, because we use it as a way to feel good. And there's nothing wrong with this, because it is these very methods that we use that allow us to see what we're doing, that allow us to see, wow, I'm sitting and meditating because I'm not accepting how I feel. I'm going on this walk, I'm going and doing this or that, or talking to them, or doing whatever to try and use it to make me feel good. And to stick the lines of talking about nature, we remember something very, very beyond that paradigm that we live in, that habitual pattern of not accepting when we don't feel good and then rushing off into carelessness the second we feel good. Nature reminds us of what is just completely, absolutely beyond that, and how you are that. And it's you and nature together, baby. We are here as one thing. And a ways into while I'm sitting out there, I start humming. I start initially by doing long, full breaths of Om. And then I got to the point where I was just going, and really getting down with that sound of the vibratingness. And running through my mind occasionally is, this is weird. What are we doing? Why am I doing this? You're sitting here humming to yourself. If someone saw you, you would look crazy. And how that's part of the because the is everything. It is nature. And then going from to and hearing the wind blow and feeling my body and seeing the trees. And the complete shift in consciousness. Not to say it dissolved those feelings or they're not there anymore, but I just opened. I opened. And like I was saying a moment ago, did I do this, or did nature help me? Did nature facilitate me moving into a deeper space? It doesn't matter. There is no me in nature. This is it. I am this. And the thing about this thing is that it has all these mind patterns, and the thing about nature is it's just doing its thing, and it doesn't talk that much. It's just there. It's breathing. It's alive. And I guess they don't talk to us in the way that we talk to each other, where it's this social thing going on. The communication of nature, of the forest, of the trees, of life, being out there is primordial. Way, way beyond conceptual language. It's talking. In that sense, it is talking to us always, in the way that I could say, when I'm feeling dis-ease, nature is saying, come out here, come relax, come remember who you are, come remember what this is, come remember that we're here together and you're not alone, and you are the entire thing. You are this. You get to be a part of this. Come out and play. And as I'm humming, I'm just humming. And I started playing with the pitch. The vocal cords are very interesting, and I started thinking about people who sing and just the crazy frequencies that are being created, because I was going and getting as low as I can, and then getting as high, intense, and just really just melting into this thing that I can do. And realizing that what I'm doing right now, talking, because I started thinking, oh my gosh, imagine if I broke my vocal cords, I wouldn't be able to do this. Oh my gosh, that means I wouldn't be able to talk. I wouldn't be able to not just hum, I wouldn't be able to talk. I wouldn't be able to vibrate and move my mouth around to send out this sound that is language and words, and just really experiencing this realm of humming. And it was at the point where I got up and I took the phones out. I walked out, and it's a little ways out into there. I walked in initially listening to the music, and walking out, I was just no music, just the wind and the sound of the leaves under my feet, and birds chirping, and cracks and ticks and all this stuff. Just walking, listening, being with it. And suddenly, I start whistling. Start whistling this random tune. If you want to actually know what it was, I was whistling the flute from the Spangles song Hammock Therapy, which is, if you want to take a moment and listen to that, it's a gorgeous song. And I was just whistling that. And as I'm whistling that, the whistling starts to go off into, freestyle whistling. I'm just whistling these beautiful tunes to myself. And I started thinking of Native Americans and why they would whistle, and how just previous to that I was humming, and the Indians and the Buddhists and the Eastern philosophy of humming and om and the throat singing and all that stuff, singing bowls. And now I'm over here whistling, and these beautiful tunes coming out, and I could feel myself when I would I'd be trying to make it sound a certain way, and it would kind of not sound as good, and then it would just go, and it sounded beautiful, and it was just like I was listening to a song for the first time, a really good song, and just flowing with that beauty and feeling the tribalness, the people that used to roam about in the forests and their connection. You know how the Native Americans and, like South American shamans with their Icaros and the whistling and just that's nature, man. There's something about it. There's something about nature and us and our frequencies and our train of thinking that is so ancient and blissful, pure, mysterious, miraculous bliss. And as I'm walking and whistling, I'm realizing, wow, this is what the psychedelics showed me. This is what the psychedelics completely erupt within us, especially if you're out in the woods doing them, or just out in nature, or down in the Amazon doing ayahuasca, or just out in the forest with your friends, whatever it is, or alone, it doesn't matter. There's something, or, out in the woods smoking DMT. There's something in there that is exactly what I'm talking about right now. The feeling, the reminder, the timelessness, the power, and the love and the wisdom of who we actually are, which is this ancient, ongoing experience of life. I don't even know. These words I'm saying aren't it. I assume you know what I'm talking about, though, in a way, of the bliss of nature. And what else I was realizing, as I'm walking back, and I'm realizing I was feeling, like I was saying earlier, I was feeling that dis-ease and unease, dissatisfaction, restlessness, frustration, sadness, just these feelings of kind of like tension. And that assuming that I'm not playing a part in any of this, the I that I think I am, that does things and wants things, not taking him right out of the picture. This body went on a walk out into nature and put on calming flute music with the tanpura and the sitar, and it went and sat outside, and it just shut up, and it sat with how it felt, and then it started recognizing itself and coming to the awareness of the nature, and then it starts humming and doing this frequency mantra, and then it starts whistling. And as I'm walking back, I'm realizing, look what, and when I say I don't mean it in the selfish me, you know what I mean? Not that I, the all I, what is, the evolution of consciousness. Just, it could tell that this thing that is the ego mind was feeling all tense, so it completely cradled it and took it out into the woods and facilitated these methods of moving beyond it into peace and presence and quietness and calmness. And I thanked myself. I said, wow, like, there's nothing I'd rather do than just being able to witness how that's what not little I, that's what I did to help little me, you know? Go out into nature, sing, create melody, stop trying to do something, just be, remember. And how the faith that I felt and the trust as I'm walking back, I'm realizing we are okay, we are being held, we are being guided. We are evolving, we are becoming more aware. And we can get into all the trivial talk of which communities and organizations are waking up and how they're doing it, but we are coming to the light. We are remembering. And if that's not the case, at least in my own little mind, I'm waking up to myself and my bullshit and how to be here now, how to be present, how to move with life and accept things. And I'm walking back and just feeling like, wow, thank you. You know, what am I thanking? I don't know, myself. Am I thanking nature? I am nature, but you know what I mean? It doesn't matter. Just thank you. The spirit, the wisdom that completely transcends the rational knowledge. You know, there's a vast difference that I'm still continuing to recognize and learn. Vast difference between knowledge, intellectual recollection, and wisdom. Very, very, very different. Knowledge is being able to see how I'm upset and why I feel that way, but can't get itself out of it, and it's frustrated and trying to do something. And wisdom is the nature that I was sitting in. The nature that is my body, the thing that's even facilitating the mind to do its mind thing, its little intellect thing. And this isn't to degrade the mind, it's just, I think, to put it very simply, humans think too much. They think too much, or they don't think clearly, or their thinking is very diluted. And we lose touch with who we actually are, which is nature, which is this life, this presence that is just so abundant with love and with true wisdom, not knowledge, wisdom, that isn't words. It is just itself. And there's no way to share wisdom. You catch it. You can only catch it from... It's contagious. It's contagious. And that, I feel, is something that we are, waking up to. Is we're catching wisdom. We're remembering what we're doing and how crazy we're acting, how dramatic we're being. And I'm walking home and I'm repeating to myself, we are healing, we are healing, we are healing, we are healing, we are growing, we are growing, we are healing. We are held, we are being carried, we are loved, and we are love. And I'm sitting inside and I'm thinking about how I was repeating that to myself, we are healing, we are healing. And the analytical, judgmental mind aspect of ourselves, of me, says, what do you mean you're healing? You're only 21 years old. What's the big deal? And I guess in some sort of humorous, understandable sense, it's agreeable. Like, what's actually so wrong? What's actually so bad that I'm healing from? What happened? What happened? I'm only 21 years old. What happened? Did I miss something where I'm just dissatisfied and sad? You know what I mean? Like, what is that whole state of, what do you mean we're healing? Why am I healing? What am I healing from? And I start to recognize how long we've been doing this, and the idea of karma and reincarnation. And the reason I feel like this is because of everything that's ever happened and where I am right now. Everything that's happened before I was this body and this YouTube channel, before YouTube was even a thing. Yes, YouTube hasn't been around forever. Before YouTube was a thing, and before anybody you see alive right now was alive. Just the ancientness and the carrying on, the inertia of our minds and our desires and our delusions and our anger and evil and everything we've built up, everything. And my mind's over here going, you're only 21 years old, what's so wrong? Well, I am life, I am everything, I am this, and I am the moment of all that's ever happened. And I suppose that we're kind of in a little, we've dug a deep hole. We're deep in it, of mind and the way we teach people, and look at the way we live, how you have to buy food and water, and like just the way we're living. I see how we're not really doing shit good. We're not with it. We lost it and are waking up to it, or are healing. We are remembering who we are. So that was what I thought when I was questioning, what do you mean you're healing? Of all of humanity, what it is to even be human, and everything it's been through, is healing and waking up and remembering, and how that is the natural cycle of life, of consciousness awakening to itself, of enlightenment, of samadhi, of nirvana, of moksha, liberation, whatever. What are they talking about? Satori, what are they talking about? What are they waking up to? And does it happen to individuals, or is it happening? Is life doing it? Is life waking up? So yeah, nature is beautiful. And as I said in the very beginning, we should go on walks more often. Many of you probably do. Sit outside or go on a walk and just listen, enjoy it. It's calling our name. It's calling our name. There's a beautiful quote, something, this is paraphrased, but it's something like, the forest floor delights to feel your feet and the wind longs to play with your hair. That's just it. That's just it. Don't go romanticizing it now, but oh my God, it's mesmerizingly beautiful. That's bhakti. That's bhakti. It's not even romanticism, it's the devotion. Love, 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 love. It's beautiful. Nature heals. Nature heals. That's what I said to my brother when I got home, when I got back. I just said, nature heals, bro. I hope you're all doing well. Maybe you feel a little bit dissatisfied, searching for something, but I hope you can remember that it's right here, and it's okay. And that we are so much more than anything we can imagine, than any context, any circumstance we can imagine ourselves to be, any situation, any identity. We are so much more than that. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great rest of your day.